It's Ep.35. I mean, I get I'm your favorite son, but, you know, it's kind of harsh on my brothers. Welcome back to the Boys Only Podcast. I'm your host, Lorenzo Vasquez. Today, we have on, for our 35th episode, a recurring guest, our second or our third guest of it ever. The first time recurring, Lorenzo Vasquez.
Hello. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Today was a big one. Today is a Father's Day episode. I think this is a pretty cool little treat to do. A lot of dads, I assume a lot of dads watch our podcast. So it's a big thing for us and everything. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on. And, you know, I wanted to make this a very dad-oriented video episode.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, for sure.
To start off, we kind of already had you on and stuff. But what are, I guess we could start, like, what, like, it's a big question, but a fast question. What are some of your fondest memories of being a dad?
Watching you guys grow up.
Yeah.
Watching you guys going through sports. Your guys' successes and unfortunately the downfalls, but I mean, of course, just like everything, we all learn from our mistakes. So
yeah,
watching you guys grow and watching you guys, as you guys grow up and get older. Right now, you guys being fathers. Yeah. So,
what are some things, like, I have a 1-year-old son, Lorenzo Jr.
Lechito.
Little Lechito. But the biggest thing that I haven't came across because he's so young is how do you deal with, as a father, how do you deal with your children's failures? Like, does it hurt you as bad as it hurts us? I would or how do you see it?
I think it does. I mean, it does hurt when you see your kids, when you see them hurt, when you see them fail. I mean, it sucks, and there's nothing you can do to fix it because you got to let them go through it. You have to let them feel it, understand it, and learn from it. So, but yeah, it hurts. It hurts a lot. And I don't know if it hurts more than what it hurts you guys. It feels like it does, but it's a rough situation. It's a rough feeling.
Is it tough to separate the anger and the compassion of when someone, if I'm going and I tell you, hey, Dad, I flunked out of high school, I flunked out of college, like, there's anger part of it, but then also, like, you're a dad, and it's like, crap, like, is there moments where it is anger and it's just anger, and you're like, I get to be pissed at this, or is it parts where it's like, all right, I'm pissed, but, I know he's going through something, and it's kind of tough?
Yeah. I mean, there have been situations, right, where, one of you guys have done something that upsets me, and I don't agree with it. Mm-hmm. I disagree with it, 99%. But yeah, like you said, there's always that little spot where you got to sit back and I think at that point is when your anger starts to diminish, and it's going away, and then the reasoning comes in.
Yeah.
And then you start, making sense of things, and so that, yeah, there is a big.
And then this would be like the second or third episode I brought it up, but I just finished watching The Sopranos, and the crazy thing about that, like, obviously he's a mafia guy, but Tony as a dad, like, if he needs to get rough and tough, he is. He's like, shut the hell up and grow up, quit being a baby. But then, they go to the side, and he's like, what if we just buy him the car? What if we just do this? You know what I mean? So, like, was that a kind of situation that you sat as a dad as you got older stuff? Because when we were younger, my older brothers would admit to it, saying that you were a little tougher on them and those conversations. But, like, when you and Mom would go to the side, is it more of you saying, like, just do it? Or was it more Mom saying just, like,
it was more your mom. It was more your mom that would do that. But, I mean, I would do it once in a while. I think I do it more now than I did before. I think before I was the one where, when I said it was no, then it was no. Mm-hmm. And then your mom would come up and say, you know what, babe, I think, just relax, maybe let's talk about it. Maybe we can do this, we can do that. She'd be the one that kind of convinced me at the times.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think it's the other way around. Right now,
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe we just kind of sit back and just think about it this way, and maybe we should do this, but yeah, there's been situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and that's something because I just I think about that, and then even with like Desiree, Sonny's so small, but like he'll do something, and I'm like, he's a baby, like she's
Yeah.
like he hit me in the face. I'm like, he's a baby, he
He's a
doesn't
baby.
know,
He doesn't
like
know. Yeah.
and she obviously knows that too, but
Yeah.
she's like, no, we need to teach him now because if we don't, he gets too old, he
Yeah.
does this, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a baby, like
Yeah.
who cares at this point? But and then another thing that comes, as me being a father and stuff is like when the children, when they're babies and stuff. I know it's a long time for you. From the youngest right now is 22, so it's been 22 years since someone's been a baby. But like, how would you deal with like one of the biggest moments for me and Des as being parents was I was it's recent. Not I mean it was one of more recent ones. I was in the restroom, just going to the restroom, and I hear boom. I'm like, what the hell? So I run out, or I'm like, what the? I'm like, whoa, was everything okay? And I hear Stunny crying, and then Des like runs over, and I'm like, what the hell? So I get out of the bathroom, what's going on? And she's like, he fell. And first thing in my mind is like, why aren't you watching him? Why is he doing that?
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Desiree's first thoughts of mine is like, you just think I'm a bad mother.
Right.
And I'm like, no, that's not what I'm saying. But why is he on his own? Why is he being that? And then it's the anger because my son's hurt, and
Right.
I get that Papa Bear, and I'm like, what's going on?
Right.
But then afterwards, I'm like, hey, I didn't,
Yeah.
no, I'm not trying to be like that. But it's like if he's out there, like, how do you gotta watch him. You gotta make sure you know what he's doing. Like, you can't. What he did was he climbed up on the couch. He loves looking out the window. He misstepped, so he rolled off the couch and hit our hardwood floors. So I'm like, well, that's tough.
Yeah.
So how would like with four boys, especially too, was it similar with you, or was it like, hey, Holly, you do you, and I'm never gonna question what you do?
No, I mean, I think it was the opposite. It was the other way around, because when you guys would do something and you guys would fall, or you guys were, for example, you guys would get into some stuff, and you guys would end up, falling off the bike or off the scooter or something, and I'd be sitting there laughing and telling you guys, okay, get up and do it again.
Yeah.
And your mom would be like, what do you mean do it again? He's going to fall again. Well, if he falls again, he falls again.
Yeah.
He's going to fall until he learns, and then he's not going to fall no more. And I think that was one of the main reasons, or one of the main things. I mean, for example, when you bought your those skate shoes, the Heelys or whatever.
Yeah.
And you were set on, I want them. And we bought them for you. And you got them.
The day of my birthday.
And you kept falling and you couldn't catch it. And I kept telling you, put them on. You're going to fall. Put them on. And you'd fall. Oh, okay. And I don't want to use them anymore.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
And so Patrick ended up getting them. And Patrick would fly down. But he fell a few times, but he'd get up and do it again, right? And your mom was like, no, don't put him on. Don't put him on because he's going to hurt. Well, what if he breaks his hand? Well, hope it doesn't happen, but if it does, then it does, right? But
dude, I hate falling to this day. I hate falling to this day, bro.
I do too. I do too. But yeah, I mean, I think I was the opposite, to where when you guys fell, when something would happen, I would just it is what it is. It happened. He fell.
Yeah, and I think I'll probably be that as he gets older because he's so young. He's only, I think before he turned 1. This happened,
right?
Like right before he turned 1, so he's still a baby.
Oh yeah,
but
he's still young. He's still small.
Yeah, that's a big thing too. Like, we'll obviously get in. We'll stay in the talk of fatherhood, but like, and you've discussed it. Like, the best gift that you've been given is your grandpa,
right?
Which is awesome.
Right. I love it. It's such a blessing. Such a blessing for me. I love my grandkids, man. I love them, and it's great. It's an awesome feeling to have them over and hang out with them and have fun with them and spoil the crap out of them and then send them home.
And but it's also cool because you're at that point where you have a 11-year-old, a 8-year-old, you got a 4-year-old, you got a 2-year-old, you got a 1-year-old.
Yeah, I got it. I mean, you
have that range right now.
That range, yeah.
You can go ride the bike with them, and then you can go chill inside the house with the other one and lay down with them.
Yeah.
But you found out that my son is terrible to sleep with.
Oh my God,
he is terrible to sleep with. I do not sleep with that kid ever.
He,
As much as I want to, I can't.
but then again, Patricia's the same way.
Is she?
She's the same way. But man, yeah, Lenchito, man, he was just all up on my back and kicking me and smacking me, and then he's up at 2 o'clock in the morning, slapping me, waking me up.
Yeah.
I'm going, what are you doing,
Yeah.
dude?
And
But those moments are priceless, man. Those
that's
moments
the
they're fun.
trials that luckily, like, to start, God bless us with, is like,
Right.
we didn't deal with Sonny and the crying
Right.
at night when he first got home. Like the
Right.
crying, and it's like, or at least I didn't. I have no idea if
Right.
Desiree did or not. I have no idea. I wasn't awake, but we didn't deal with that, and we finally dealt with that as a family part where we took him off the bottle, and and Des is like,
Yeah.
and she chose a Tuesday.
Right.
Out of all days to choose, she chose a Tuesday night, and I'm like, why are we doing the middle? This should be like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday night thing. This shouldn't be. And she's like, no. And we stood up. I think we slept like 2 hours. I think we slept 2 to 3 hours. But we fell asleep at 9. We woke back up at 11.
That's
and then it was
always
through
tough.
the night. And he
That's
just cried
tough.
and cried. And finally, I think at like 3 o'clock in the morning, I broke and I turned the TV on and I put Miss Rachel on. And he sat there and watched Miss Rachel for 2-3 more hours until Desiree had to go to work out. And then I went and worked out. And it's just, yeah. But those trials and tribulations, man.
And you look back on them, and they're funny.
They're funny, yeah.
They're fun. It was crazy, but
it's a bonding moment between
it
me
is
and
a
Des.
bonding moment.
It's a bonding moment between me and Des to sit there and like.
It's a huge bonding moment
we
that you
went through
get.
that.
You went through that together. You did that together, and you get to experience that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As we continue now too, like we talked about you being a dad, we kind of skimmed over you being a dad of like babies and stuff, which was tough because you were 25, 26 with 4? Was it around that age?
Yeah, right around 24, I believe is what it was, 25, something like that.
Crazy. I'm 25, and I have 1. And I don't know if I could have dealt with 4 at this age.
Yeah. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy.
What puts you through the, like, I get it now. You don't get it until it happens. And then I assume the more kids you have, the more you understand even more. But, like, the long nights and the days you worked and the days you were gone, like, and I feel like I know your answer, but was it ever a question? Was it ever a thought? Like, obviously, I'm assuming when you were going through those long nights, like, I just wish I could be home with my boys and my wife, but it's like I'm doing this for them.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, how were those? Do you remember those nights and just sitting there and think, like, wow, okay.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. I mean, it was rough. A lot of times, because when I first started, as a driver, I worked a lot of hours, and I knew that the more hours I worked, the more money I was going to get. So for me to be able to, make ends meet, I had to work a lot of hours. And at the time, your mom wasn't working because she was taking care of you guys.
No.
And, it was a blessing because, you don't have that daycare charge, right? Back then, it wasn't that easy to find a job and work from home, right? So,
yeah.
I was working, in the summer times. I mean, most of the summer times I was working 80 hours plus, 90 hours, 100 hours, working days and nights, to try to get that extra money, that extra overtime money, to be able to, get you guys what you guys wanted, what you guys needed.
Yeah.
First of all, what you guys needed. Second of all, what you guys wanted. And then, of course, you got to keep the wife happy. So,
yeah, that's huge.
You got to keep the house. You got to pay the bills, and you got to do what you got to do to make it happen. And so.
And what, like, I think we won't ever have to feel this, which I'm grateful for. And a lot of it comes to what you guys did for us as parents. But, like, at those young ages, born to 10, even a little older, how rough were those times of holidays coming around, Christmas coming around, buying the gifts, making sure you had the money to buy the gifts? Like, how stressful did that get as a parent for you? If you were at the time, there's sometimes you were the only one working and stuff, and you had to make this extra money to pay for this stuff.
It got tough in the construction trucking industry. It gets pretty rough because a lot of that construction is seasonal.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of downtime in the wintertime. So I mean, you really didn't work a whole lot. So it got tough in the wintertime. I mean, I can honestly say that there was some holidays, some Christmases that we didn't have a whole lot. We didn't have a whole lot to give you guys, or to be able to give ourselves or give each other. But you know, we made it. We made it work. We
Yeah.
made it work, and you know, we might not giving you guys, you know, hundreds of dollars in prizes or gifts. I mean, but you know, we gave you guys what we could and made it,
Yeah.
you know, as special as we could, right? To make it worth to where you guys had a good. It was about what you guys had, not
Yeah.
about what we had, and not about what we gave ourselves. It's what we gave you guys, and make sure that you guys had a good time and you guys
Yeah.
had a good Christmas, had a good, you know, New Year's, had a good, you know, any of the holidays that was
Yeah.
there.
And that. I mean, it's awesome because I'm the third. I'm the third of four, and I could personally tell you I don't remember a Christmas where I didn't get what I wanted.
Right.
You know, like that's why it's blessed of that case because it always Christmas always felt like it was a great thing. I used to have friends that used to they used to call us spoiled.
Right.
I had legit friends that would call
Right.
us spoiled, and I'm like, I don't understand. Like, you know, I would we have a PS3.
Right.
Oh yeah, you're spoiled and stuff. And I'm like, well, no, like in my head, I'm like, well, all four of us are sharing a PS3. Like, it's
Yeah.
one PS3 for a fan. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
in those things, but it's like, look back at it now. Like, you worked very hard as a dad, and mom worked very hard as a mom to do what
Right.
we could get and get what we got,
Right.
and stuff. And it's funny because even now, like, I understand the feeling now where it's more about what your boy gets and stuff because being completely honest, until like one Christmas ago, and I had to make this very vocal to Desiree. Presents were kind of a big thing for me. Like, I love giving presents,
Mm-hmm.
but also I love
Love
getting
receiving
presents.
them.
Yeah. So I had to explain to Desiree because, you know, it was one Christmas where she really, you know, and Des is a big problem. She can't wait, and I'm like, yo, the gifts you got me are cool, but like if I'm not opening something on Christmas, it's kind of like in my head, I'm like, I don't get nothing.
Right.
So, you know, and then now that Sunny and this Christmas just came around, we went to Disney, we did all these things, and I'm like, this is cool, man.
Yeah, that was fun.
You know, this is more fun for my son, and
Oh yeah.
even though
Oh,
he
yeah.
wasn't even, you know, he was like 7 months old, like
Yeah.
this is way better than anything else I could
It's the
get.
experience that you get. It's the experience that you get with your kids. It's, you know, it's the memories that you make with the kids, and that is, you can't put a price on it.
Yeah, that's priceless.
Yeah, that you can't put a price on that. It's just, you know, that's something that you will, you know, carry for a lifetime. It's just not for that day, only for that day. It's for a lifetime. You know, you carry those with you.
Yeah.
So
A big thing that we will go over. It's the reason the name of the podcast. It's, you know, what we are. You had all boys.
right,
You know, boys only podcast. That's because it was just boys in our house.
right.
The only woman my mom had around her was Coco, the dog. That was the only girl she had.
That was it. That was it.
How was it being like? I remember us wrestling you and doing these things with you and stuff. Like, you know, did you see it? Did you love being a dad of four boys? I know you discussed that you wanted a girl, but like
I did.
being a dad of four boys, you know, was it just like, man, it's just, you know, freaking Toyotathon every month.
Yeah, your mom would get, you know, sometimes overly stressed, and she'd get upset with us or with me because I'd always, you know, be messing with you. But I would be the same way with my dad was with us, right? I mean, you know, my dad used to wrestle with us boys, you know, with me and my brother, and so I did that a lot with you guys, right? I mean, I wrestled with you guys, I, you know, played with you guys and messed around with you guys, and sometimes unfortunately made you guys cry, but
Yeah.
you know, it was, but it was fun. I mean, I loved it. I loved it. I mean, your mom wanted a little girl, and as you guys, you know, after we had Jalen and Patrick, you know, I honestly didn't want to have any more kids. Your mom wanted, you know, to have a little girl, so we tried. And
You didn't want a kid. She wanted a kid, so you compromised and had a kid.
Yeah. So you carry a boy, and then you know, she wanted. And I told her that was it. We were done, and that's why there's such a gap between you and Roman, because I didn't want him to have any more kids.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And so, that's what she said. You know, I want to try another for a girl. I want to try it. I think it's gonna happen. And I said it's not gonna happen. She was, I think it is. And it didn't happen.
No.
It's a boy. So.
Which then, I mean, we're blessed with Landon
Yeah.
being our oldest nephew, and then we have Avi, and then Pat comes around. He's got Allie.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen comes around. He's got Patty.
Patrick. Yeah,
Bro, I was fully convinced I was having a girl. fully
I
convinced,
was fully
bro.
convinced that we're gonna have. I was just gonna get stuck with just all
Yeah,
girls,
all girls.
right? And then
I'm like,
it was
Landon
gonna
needs
be
to take
all
our
girls,
name.
and Landon was gonna be the
Landon
only
needs to
guy,
take our
and that's
name.
it.
He has to take it so it gets
He
passed
has to.
along. Like he has to do it now, man.
I thought
But
my last name was gonna end up there. It was gonna end up,
I'll put the
here.
video in this too. But like, uh, we have the ring. So we have the gender reveal video, and I'm losing it. I won the Super Bowl. I'm losing my mind. I saw blue and I'm freaking out. If you watch the video, I have my eyes closed. I pop it, and then I look
And
and
then
I
you
see the
look, it was
blue.
blue.
Insane.
Yeah.
You watch the ring camera of our reactions,
Mm-hmm.
and it blows up. The two people that freaked out the most, Ramon jumps up, loses it. You jump up, lose it in the background, going crazy.
Yeah.
Like, that's my connection because my son, my boy,
Right.
right?
Right.
But yeah, and I know Des didn't want to do a gender reveal
Mm-hmm.
at all.
No, she didn't.
She did not at all
She didn't.
because um, Jasmine did. We were doing COVID, so we didn't do it for Allie because it was during COVID.
Yeah, it was a little small one that they did. They did one, but it was a little small one. I
Pat
think
and
maybe on Facebook.
Jill and Kat did a very small
Yeah.
one also.
Yeah.
And Des is like, I just want to find out. That's what it is. But there's something about you with Desiree that she's got a soft spot in her heart for you, Mom. It's serious. You're like, I don't, Mija, I don't ask you for much, but I asked you, and Des is like, if your dad wants it, we're gonna do it.
And it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. Like, on that topic, and I hope this is all dads, and I hope I'm like, this is the dad. Your fatherhood doesn't just stick with your kids. You are a father to my wife. You are a father to my sister-in-laws. You are a father to my friends. A lot of my friends, will go and say, "Dude, I just love your dad." My best friend Bobby. He has his dad. His dad's a great dad.
Mm-hmm.
But he also says, like, "Man, the connection I have with your dad's awesome."
Yeah.
You took him fishing. Me and you and him went fishing. Great time.
Mm-hmm.
But like, just something. I think it's a trait that you have that is awesome because I have a lot of friends that just they like you and you're just a great. They just like, he's a great dad.
And when you guys were growing up, a lot of the times, some of the kids would always be like, "Why is your dad? Your dad looks like he's mean."
Yeah.
Right. And I guess I just got that ugly, mean face.
And like,
right?
he's not the mean one. Mom's the mean
Yeah,
one.
exactly. That's exactly.
She's a small, nice one.
She looks all nice and she looks all nice and angel, but yeah, no, not at all. But I mean, I've always loved kids. I've always had a connection to kids.
Yeah.
I've always loved coach. I've loved teaching kids. The game of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And
huge.
But when you guys have friends, I mean, you guys have friends over, and they're good kids. They're good. Not the kids anymore, but
Yeah. Now we're trying to force you to take shots.
Yeah, exactly. Before it's like, let's go play outside. Now it's like, hey, take a shot.
Form up, dude.
So yeah, exactly. You guys are pulling me out of the house because you guys are tricking me to come outside, and I don't want to anymore.
Yeah.
I can't keep up with you guys anymore. But no, I mean, they're good kids. It's fun to hang out with them and sit there and listen to your guys' stories that I didn't know about.
Yeah, that's the best, bro. It really is the best. When you
sometimes I don't want to hear those kind of stories, but
they're hilarious though. I love it. I love it, man. It's when you go back and I really don't have a lot of crazy stories. I actually when I said I was going to a friend's house, I really was going to a friend's house and we weren't doing nothing.
Yeah.
Ours was more like playing video games and stuff. But now that I'm a little older, we have funny stories to look back at and stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
But now kind of switch over to you're a dad of children, of babies, and then we discussed a little bit of you being dad of teenagers and stuff. Like now you're a father of men.
Yeah.
Right. And we've had these conversations and stuff, and individually on our sides and stuff. But what is the best things about seeing your children become men, and the worst things about seeing your children become men?
I think that it never changes as a parent, as a father, what it is to worry about your kids. Period. When they're kids, when they're teenagers, when they're older, you're always going to have that worry in the back of your mind and your heart for your kids. Are they doing the right thing? Are they treating their family right? Are they being good dads? Are they being good husbands? Are they being a good example, right? I can't say that I was the best example for my kids, for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully I was. I know in some levels I probably wasn't. Um, and a lot of times you can say that, you guys as kids or even as young adults, you guys look up and say, I want to be like my dad. I would say not to be like me, but be better than me. I know I made mistakes. You guys will make mistakes, but you guys need to be your own person, but be better than what I was. Teach your kids to be better than what I taught you guys, right? But that worry never goes away. I mean, but on the same token, you guys have grown up a lot, and now you guys having kids. I mean, it's the greatest blessing that you guys could ever give me.
Yeah.
As a father, right? And now being a grandfather, seeing my grandkids get to the house and running up to me and wanting to hang out with me and asking me, "Abuelo, let's go do this," or "Abuelo, let's go do this," or "Whoa, let's go."
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. It keeps me young because I can still move around with them and be able to enjoy them growing up and having fun with them, right? Teaching the kids, Landon and Navi to ride bikes. I mean, to me, it's a huge. My dad taught Jalen how to ride a bike. So to me, very
full circle moment.
Yeah, it is. It's a full circle moment. I mean, I love it. I love it. I mean, I can imagine the way my dad felt when he was teaching my kids, right? So,
a bit. This is a Father's Day episode, but there are massive shout outs to the moms out there.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Massive shout outs.
Most definitely.
Like my wife is MVP. She took today. She's like, yeah, let's see how Sonny does at his dentist appointment, and I'm like, he's going to dentist? She's like, yeah, 1 year they have to go to dentist, and I'm like, he's got 6 teeth.
He's got 2 teeth. Yeah, exactly.
What is he going to the dentist for?
What are they checking him?
And I'm like, that's something I'm like, good job, babe. I would have never thought of that. I would have never thought about taking my son to the dentist.
Either would have I. And your mom would do it. Your mom would take you guys to the dentist, and I'm like, what are you taking to the dentist? They ain't even got no teeth. Well, they got to get checked. They got to get their gums checked. They got to make sure the teeth are coming in right. Okay, I just figured they'd come in.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
They're going to come in. They're going to fall out. They're going to come back in again. I mean, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
Deidre's very adamant of not letting our son be a silver cat boy. Very adamant. He's not going to be one of those silver cat boys. I'm telling you. No. That's why he's off the bottle so fast and off the formula so fast and all that stuff and everything. But there's this. So what? Also, I mean, it was a Father's Day. I had this planned anyways, but. A large podcast that I watch called Busting with the Boys. They came out with another side podcast, and it's called For the Dads, right?
Oh, okay.
And one of their segments they had, we'll just still for this episode. Part of my friends called the motherfucker moment, right? It's a motherfucker moment. It's a moment as a father that something happened and you knew you messed up. You're like, shit, I really just did that. Is there any moments of or mom came and just ripped you? Like, why would you ever do that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, are there any moments that come to mind when you think of that?
I can't really think of one right off the bat, but I know that there's been moments where, why would you do that? I don't know.
Mine the other day, it wasn't as bad. She didn't yell at me, but she was kind of pissed at me. I had Sunny. She was out, and I'm like, all right, we got to feed you dinner. And I'm like, all right, you just had a whole bottle of milk. You're not that hungry. And then I think, Desiree said he loves shredded cheese. So me as a dad, I just throw in front of his plate a thing of shredded cheese, and I'm eating a sandwich, and we just chilling there together. And Des is like, that's all you fed him? And I'm like, yeah, you said he liked cheese. And she's like, yeah, but you got to give him like ham or turkey, like protein with it. And I'm like, there's protein in the milk. What do we, what kind of things are we trying to figure out there? But yeah, that's luckily I'm a big what do you want to do?
Right.
How do you want to go?
Right.
You tell me what you want and I'll do it. Right. So I don't get too many of, I'll get a pissed off you could have got him ready. Mm-hmm. A lot of times when we're getting ready, those are the things. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me to get him ready? And she's like, why would I need to tell you to get our son ready? I'm like, oh, okay, chill out,
And the time that you do get him ready,
It's wrong.
you're probably going to put the wrong shirt on.
Exactly.
And he's probably going to walk out looking like a bag of Skittles, right? All different colors. And you're going to get yelled at. Say, why would you put that shirt on him with those shorts?
Exactly.
I
put an outfit on him.
I don't know.
And she's like, that doesn't even fit him anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, yeah, look at how tight it is. And I thought it was just a skim shirt. I thought it was just, showing his body off. That's what I thought it was. And she's like, no.
Yep. Oh, yeah, I got a lot of those moments for sure.
Man. There's a couple. I remember when he took us to watch Condemned. That's funny. That's a great story. I was like 8.
That was that was one of those moments. Yeah, that was one of those moments. Yeah, I agree.
I remember it vaguely, but we came home, and you guys were bored, so you and your brother killed a turkey.
Yeah.
And you guys fried the turkey, and Mom's like, what the hell are you guys doing?
Yeah, we killed the turkey, and we were putting it in peanut oil and cooking it. Yeah, and just cooking it and eating it as we're cooking it. It came out pretty good. Came out good. That's when we lived up there in the Aristocrat. Yeah.
A thing too, like it's a dad thing. How fast do you normally cave after you secretly bought something behind Mom's back?
After a what?
You go, you buy something on the credit card.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big purchase, and you don't tell my mom. But then, how fast until you eventually cave that you buy it? That's a big dad thing.
Well, case in point, this winter. This winter, I've been wanting, for the last couple of winters, I've been wanting to get a sonar, right? Ice fishing sonar, right?
Yeah.
And I've been wanting to buy one. I cleared one of my credit cards, and I went and bought it. I didn't tell your mom. I didn't say nothing. I just went and bought it. I actually hid the old sonar, and I put the new sonar where the old sonar was at, so that way
she would notice.
She would notice, right?
She would notice.
Yeah, exactly. She doesn't know what a sonar is, so she wouldn't notice, and she didn't. She didn't notice, but it just so happened that for my birthday, she cleared out one of her credit cards and said, "Well, I'd like to buy it for you." And my heart dropped.
Oh,
crap. And I said, "No, I'd rather get a nice auger." No, I want to buy you the sonar. You've been wanting the sonar for so long. I want to buy you the sonar. Babe, I bought the sonar. What? Yeah, I bought the sonar. When? I don't know, like a couple months ago. Are you serious? Yeah.
Did she ever find out about the thing we bought in Vegas? The thing you bought in Vegas?
The jacket?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever told her?
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
You're like, don't tell your mom.
Yeah.
No, do not tell your mom.
And the biggest thing is because your mom watches out for me, right? Your mom watches out for me because I do. I make some stupid buys sometimes.
I do all the time.
And so if I don't have her, a lot of times I'll go ask her, "Babe, what do you think?" She'll be like, "No, don't buy it." Why not?
It's the worst.
Because you're not going to take care of it. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. And so,
And when they say no, it makes you want it more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now it's like, wait a minute. Now you're telling me no. Now I'm going to go buy it. And 98% of the time, she's probably right.
Yeah.
She's probably right. And it was probably a stupid buy. But
what can you do?
But it's cool.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly.
It's cool. It's like I wanted that. I wanted that jacket. I'm gonna buy it. I wanted that sonar. I wanted to buy it. And it was awesome that for my birthday she bought me the auger. I was so excited. But I just think that she didn't get as mad at me as I thought she was gonna get. I thought she was gonna get more mad at me. She didn't. So
no. Yeah. I mean, it's something too. Like for Father's Day this year. Another example, Desiree's terrible at holding gifts. I love headphones. It's been brought up in this podcast a million times. I love headphones. And I've been really wanting. About the new Beats that came out. They came out like 2 years ago, a year ago. I bought them right when they came out. So excited. And then I've been wanting those Apple headphones. Super bad. They're expensive. Stupid expensive. And I kept telling myself, like, I would never spend that much money. But I want them. But I would never spend that much money on them. And I kept telling Desiree, like, you know what? I'm going to pay this credit card down more. I'm gonna go
And
buy
then
those
get it.
beats. I'm gonna
Yeah.
buy the headphones that I want to get.
Yeah.
And she's just like, no,
Yeah.
no. And I'm like, bro, I want them. Like I want them, dude.
Yeah.
And finally, she came to me. She's like, hey, for Father's Day, I want to get you the headphones. Automatically, I'm like, all right, well, they have them on Target for this price. We can get them
Yeah.
right now, pick
Yeah.
them up, go them
Yeah.
and everything. But yeah, bro, that's what moms, like, what wives do, bro. It's crazy on how
It
much,
is.
like,
It is.
yeah,
But in all honesty, you need them
oh,
to keep you honest,
yeah,
right? To a certain extent, right? Because if they don't, man, I honestly, I'd be broke. I mean, I got to give thanks to to my wife, because
does she do a
if
lot
it
of the
wasn't,
budgeting?
yeah, she
Yeah,
does, she does. So there's some times where I got to get strict as well. But I mean, I think we kind of make a really good team when it comes down to it, to where we could, we manage our money accordingly to where,
yeah,
you know,
smart.
we don't go and blow it all up, and then all of a sudden now we're dying and we ain't got a penny to our name. But
Yeah,
as long as the bills are paid, as long as everything is good, then we're good.
yeah,
Anything on top of that is gravy. So yeah,
yeah. No, that's huge. That's something that doesn't. We finally dialed that down in like 2 years ago. We were together. We were still married. We were married at the time. We were still going at separate bank accounts. And I was like, yo, we gotta figure this out.
yeah,
We gotta stop this.
yeah,
Like my account, all the bills come from there.
yeah,
Your account, a couple
yeah.
bills and spending for grocery stuff needs to come out there. So now we have a little more dialed up, and it makes life a lot easier and stuff. Especially when you have a good partner,
It does.
it
Yeah,
makes life a
it
lot
is.
easier.
It is.
Because then you're not a stupid idiot
Yeah.
of a man. Men are idiots, bro. We're stupid, I swear.
Yeah.
I mean, a big thing too that, and I see movies of it, and I see stories of it, and I believe it is true, but I wish it wasn't true that there are dads out there that take a lot of, like, when someone succeeds at something their child, they kind of try to take it in. It's something you've never done, and I want to thank you that of a dad. You've never done that. Me and Desiree were lucky enough to buy this house, and I was like, "Thank you, Dad," and you were like, "I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Why are you thinking me?" Like, um, I bought my truck, and I was like, "Can't believe you did that. Thank you." And they're like, "I didn't do anything either. Like, I didn't. You did it on your own." And that's something that's so. And I don't have enough talks to people. I don't know if it's rare or not, but to me, I don't see it very often within dads of how they act and stuff with their kids. And something I want to thank you of just being a dad like that. It's
You're
huge.
welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yeah. I mean, I just feel like you guys have evolved and you guys have grown up a lot and you guys have done for yourselves, and that's the most important. And I think that's one of the things that my biggest goal was to raise you guys to be men, right? To be
Mm-hmm.
men, so that way you guys can take care of yourself first of all, take care of your family second of all, right? Uh, take care of your kids, and you guys be smart enough to where when you guys are old enough to, like you are now as a having a family, that you guys know that, respect to your kids, respect to your wives is the number one,
Yeah.
is number one. So, and I think that you guys have done it. You guys have gone, you guys have gotten that far, and I mean, right now, three of you guys already have houses, which
Yeah.
is great. That's awesome. And I mean, that's a huge blessing, and it's a huge accomplishment for you guys. And I know that as long as you guys keep, you know, being blessed, you know, my heart is happy because I know that you guys are doing good,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I want. And you guys are leaders, so you guys lead your families, and that's what it's about.
Um, and just of overall, like being a man and being a father and stuff, what would you say are some core values that you took or you feel like men need to have in those situations?
I think one of the biggest one is going to be, you know, your family needs to rely on you. You have to be, you got to be the 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 muscle of the family, right? Reliability towards your family, respect towards your family, love
Yeah.
towards your family. Uh, you know, I think that that's one of the things that you guys, I know you guys give me a lot of hard time a lot of the time just because sometimes your mom, you guys might feel like I listen to your mom a lot, right?
Yeah.
If your mom says something, yeah, go ahead, and you guys, yeah, whatever, yeah, go ahead and do it. But if you don't, sometimes if you don't, it's not gonna. There's not gonna be no peace, right?
Yeah.
And you gotta keep the peace. You gotta keep the peace in the family. You gotta keep that because if you don't give her space or her, you know, time to shine, uh, happy wife, happy life, period, right? Um, but I think that that's one of the biggest things is love and respect, um, and being there for the family.
Hmm. Is it tough? Something I've been learning now too is like there is no question of your family coming first. Your wife, your kids coming first. Is it tough when those situations do come about where it's like it is your own family?
Right.
Like I remember there's a huge. I can't remember the gentleman that says it, but he explains like I go to weddings and I hear people say like welcome to our family, and it's like no 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 no, they're their own family.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are tangents of them. We're grandma, grandpa. That's all
Mm-hmm.
we are now to
Mm-hmm.
them. I
Mm-hmm.
guess we are their mom and dad, but their family's their family,
Right.
right? At the end of the day, I'm assuming that you would never go and tell me, you know, yeah, you need to come do this. Screw your wife,
Right.
right? Because
No.
that's something you've always done. It's your
No.
wife and your kids that always
Yeah.
come first
Yeah.
and stuff.
It always does. It always does. And it's something that I was taught by my dad and my mom that your family comes first. Your wife is above all,
Yeah,
right? Once you leave your house, you leave your parents, you are basically separated from, and you make your own family. Um, Mom and dad are no longer
there.
your responsibility, right? Um, you're still our responsibility because you're still our son, but I am no longer your responsibility,
Yeah.
right? Your responsibility now has shifted, and your responsibility is now your wife and your kids,
Hmm.
just like it was me. Just same thing on my end. I had a responsibility. I had a responsibility for my wife and my kids. Um, a lot of times, there's a lot of parents that don't like that. They want to keep their
Yeah.
kids right there with them, right? They don't want to let them go. Um, Sometimes they have a good relationship, sometimes they don't, but they still don't want to let them go. But you got to let the kids grow up. You got to let them be themselves,
Hmm.
right? You got to let them grow. You have to let them grow.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, that's not something that me myself, I've always said it, and I've always told you guys, your family is first. By all means, your family is first. I would never ever ask any of you guys to leave your family for me or for me and your mom.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be fair, right? I mean, as of right now, Des, she's a great woman. Kat, Jazz, I mean, I love them like they were my daughters. I've never had daughters, but they're great people. They're great women. They're great mothers and great wives.
Yeah.
And I can't say nothing bad about them.
And that's something like Des and I went through at an early age was like 21, 19, or like 19, 20, 21. I was, trying to still go to school, get my degree, get a career. I wanted a house, and Des was already kind of going through her career. She was a medical assistant. She's kind of
Right.
like, I want a kid. And I'm like, not right now. Can't do that. And I'm like, I made her the promise. I said, let's get a house. Let me finish my degree. Let's get a house and let's get married, and then we'll have kids. in which she did that.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I explained to her why I wanted to do that is because I wanted to, let her understand, like, before our child, we were husband and wife.
Right.
After our child moves out, we will still be husband and wife.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there will be, for 18, we can be, people are together for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, if you have 3 kids, they're 2 years apart, it's an average of, you'd say 26 years with someone living in your house.
Mm-hmm.
If you're together for 50 years, half of that.
Mm-hmm.
Of that. The other half, you're still married.
Yeah.
So I tried to explain to Desiree, I said, at the end of the day, it will be me and you.
Right.
We need to have that love for each other. I
Right.
know we're going to love our child.
Right.
There's no question if we love our child. But if we don't love each other, how can we do that? There's that podcast that I was talking about, Will Compton, he's the guy that hosts it. He tells a great monologue that he created. And it's a little more focused towards girl dads. But, you can see it in both ways. And, I'm kind of seeing it in both ways. Like, as a father to boys, you are your son's first boss.
Mm-hmm.
You are your son's first superhero.
Mm-hmm.
You are your son's first best friend. As a daughter, you are your daughter's first love.
Mm-hmm.
You are your daughter's first, boyfriend, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You're your daughter's first protector.
Mm-hmm.
And going to that, like, that's why it's so important of being a great role model and father that you could be at those moments.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely.
Like, I think we all go back, and all my brothers and stuff, we all discuss it, like, just you were a great dad. Even if you think that you weren't stuff, you were a great dad to us. There's nothing that we've gone back and thought and said, my dad really messed up here. Or my mom, I've never thought that in my life and stuff because I've been blessed and thankful for all that. But it's huge in those kind of situations. I kind of tangent from being a husband and stuff and a wife, but the childs and stuff, like, it's big and it's important to kind of understand those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, in my head, you guys did it great. Like, I don't know, I tell Desiree, you're kind of like my mom a little bit. They say it's the true thing where you get with people that are just like your mom and just like your dad and stuff because it's just something that you are.
Yeah.
And you're attracted to stuff in a weird way. You're attracted to that stuff, and I think that's something that we've done. I think at least and stuff. But it's tough, man. And I've learned more and more nowadays. I saw another quote too that discussed, like, it's no longer mom. What do you want? It's mom. What do I do?
Right.
Same thing. Dad, what do you want? Dad, what do I do?
Right.
Well, we come to you all the time, bro. We come to you all the time, but, like, I just called the other day, like, bro, I can't get this fucking rose bush out of my lawn, bro. I need you, Dad. I need you, bro. I cannot get this goddamn rose bush out of my lawn, and I couldn't do it. It's still there. Rose bush is still there. Like, god dang it, bro. Like, Dad, how my sink's not working. What do I do?
Yeah.
And that's just something
And to be honest, I mean, that's something that, I did the same thing with my dad, right? I mean, I'd call my dad and say, hey, Dad, how do I do this? Hey, Dad, what do I do here? Hey, Dad, what do I do here? Fortunately, I lost my dad, I wasn't too young, but I was still young when I lost my dad, and it just, I had to learn it.
Yeah.
Right? And I had to learn that
you
stuff.
You could be 50 years old and lose your dad, and you still think
and it's still like, you feel like, you don't have that mentor, right? That you want to have, exactly. That you want to have, and that you think that, because my dad, when it came to working on a car or doing something around the house, I'd call him, Dad, I gotta do this and this and this. All right, I'll be right there. I think that's one of the reasons that I'm kind of like that too, right? You guys call me up and say, Dad, I need this.
The problem now is we fight for you.
So I'll be right there. Yeah, exactly.
We fight for you. It's like, hey, I need this. And you're like, well, I'm going to go to Jalen's house, help him out with this, or I'm going to Pat's house, help me out with this. And now we're fighting for you.
Yeah. And then I'm hurting for the next couple of days.
Yeah. And there's, I just so many things that I see about and everything. Because something I've really learned, like I've been growing into now, is being a better dad, being understanding more. Hearing from other dads, right? And there's a song that went out. It's called Mama Song, but he talks about his dad in it. And he says Dad, I know how you to make it big because you're great at everything. And that's legit in my head. Is like, you're great at everything. It's very tough to see you.
I wish I was, but
right, exactly. So like, in my head, and probably by seeing my brothers, we just, Dad, how do you do this? Oh, okay. Let me go and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you the other day, I gotta get rid of that stupid concrete stuff. Like, son, it's just quickcrete. You just put it there, and I'm like, You make it sound so easy. You make it sound so damn easy to
And
go
it
and do
can be,
it. And
but yeah,
exactly,
and I
right?
agree. I mean, sometimes it might not be, but sometimes you just got to get up and do it. You got to just
Yeah,
you got to get in. You got to get dirty. It's got to get done.
yeah. No, it's man. You sit back, bro, and it's like I don't know. It's tough. I definitely sit there and it's just how I've always been. But I like what am I gonna do the day I don't have you?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you came across that with your dad. You lost him, and like you
Mm-hmm.
said, not too young of an age, but young enough. And it's like what I think about it, and I'm like, man, what am I? Like, I feel so lost.
Mm-hmm.
I feel so
Mm-hmm.
lost and stuff. But one big thing that you've made a huge push on is, and going back to being a grandpa, is like your health
Yeah.
of being a grandpa.
Yeah.
Like I noticed that you made a big push, kind of thing, right when Natalie was kind of a little bit before Allie was born and stuff. Like you made a really big push of like, hey, I need to, and how that's something I'm going through now.
Right.
I'm a bigger dude
Right.
and stuff, and it's mine is like I want to be there for my son. I want to be that dad that my son goes like, yeah, dude, my dad did a freaking
Yeah.
front flip off a cliff. Like
Yeah.
I'm really like trying to be
Yeah.
that guy.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to make myself look like a superhero, even though I'm not. I want to be in my son's eyes, in my future kids. I want to be that guy.
Uh-huh.
But like
Mm-hmm.
as a now that we're deep in our lives and stuff, and as a grandpa, it's like you want to make it. You're riding bikes with your
Yeah.
child.
Yeah. Most definitely. I mean, you want to try to stay as much active as you can. You want to go out there and have fun with your grandkids. You want to be out there, so that way they have memories of you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? When they grow up, and I'm going to be around as long as God can keep me around,
yeah,
right? I don't have a say so on when I get to go, but if I do go, as long as my grandkids can remember that, you know, they had a great grandfather, you know, and they can say stories even if they're good or bad stories,
yeah,
but they can be proud of what I did for them or what
yeah.
as hard as I tried to be for them. So, um, because I mean, I think now, I think now, getting a little older, but um, to me, they're my pride and joy now,
Yeah.
right? I mean, and not saying that you guys aren't, but now it's just different, right? I mean, with the
Yeah.
grandkids, it's just different. They're they're
Which
so fun to be around them.
it's funny because
They're
with
so fun to be around
with
them.
Jeb, my father-in-law, they they were like, yeah, like my dad don't touch babies, my dad don't carry
Right,
babies, he don't do
right,
none of that.
right.
And Sonny's young age, and he's like, give me him,
Yeah,
and he's carrying him,
yeah,
and like, oh my god, and I'm talking to him,
yeah.
and I'm like, well, what is it? And he's like, it's different.
It is. It is.
He's like,
It
I
is
fucking
because
love this kid.
it's a huge difference because even with my dad, when we were young, my mom always tells us the stories, right? My dad would never change our diapers. He would never change our diapers. He wouldn't touch us. He would just wouldn't change our diapers. That was the back then. That was
I
the
changed
wife's.
diapers. I changed
That
poopy
was
diapers.
that was the wife's. And when I started changing diapers when my kids were young, my mom asked me that question. Why are you changing diapers? Your wife should be doing that. Why wouldn't I change diapers?
Yeah,
I'm a father. I want my kids to know that I was there for them.
yeah,
I'm not saying that my dad wasn't, but I'm not my dad, right? Again, you want to be better. I wanted to make sure that my kids knew that I was there for them,
period.
right? Period. So, yeah, I'm going to change diapers. I'm going to change diapers on my grandkids. I have no problem changing a poopy diaper. I
Yeah,
have no problem whatsoever. If I got to get in there and I got to change the baby's diaper, I'll do it. I'll be more than happy to do it. I have no problem with that. That right? I mean, but I love it. I love being there. I love being there for them. I love being able to help out and whatever I can help out.
no.
If I can do it, I'll do it. If I can't do it, figure out a way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So,
I remember having a conversation with you years ago, and I asked you, if you could say one thing to your father, what would you say? And you went and you said, just thank you for being a great grandfather and stuff.
yep. Yep.
And
Because he honestly was, he honestly was a better grandfather than he was a dad.
yeah,
He really was. I
which
mean,
sometimes is the case.
and it sucks to say it, and it hurts sometimes to say it, but it's true. It's fact. My dad was a lot better grandpa than he was a dad. I mean, again, he never changed our diapers, but he changed your guys' diapers.
Yeah.
He'd come to the house, he'd pick up Jalen, Patrick, you, take him with him. Yeah, and there's your mom giving him the diaper bag. And he would take him. And, oh, yeah, I changed his diaper. Oh, I made him a bottle. But never did, right? Not with us, anyways. I mean, and of course, I can't remember because, I was too young for that. But, that's something that my mom always told us, it was crazy to see your dad do that because he never did that with you guys. Mm-hmm. Right? So, but he was a great grandfather. He was a great grandpa. I love seeing that. I love seeing that from my dad. That he enjoyed being with you guys, and hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that too. I love just hanging out at the house. Going to your guys' house and throwing Sonny down. And even with my in-laws too, with Tara and Jeb. Because on that side, he's the only baby child.
Oh yeah,
he's the only. So that boy is,
Oh, he's overly, and it's great. That's great.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
That he's overly spoiled.
Yeah. Because then he goes back and they're like, "Well, Sonny didn't take a nap today because he wouldn't," and I'm like, "He wouldn't?
Or
you wouldn't let him?" Exactly. Like you didn't want him to.
Yeah, of course.
You don't want that time away from which it makes sense.
But you want to hang out with them. You want to spend time with them. You want to have fun with them. You want to cuddle with them and roll with them and let them get dirty and it's great.
Yeah.
You watch him get up and he's still not walking 100%, but he grabs onto things and he's walking around wanting to grab something and reaching over trying to see if he can get that one step. And you're watching him wanting to take that first step, right? You're so excited for them to grow up. But then again, you don't want them to grow up because all of a sudden it's like a year went by already.
Yeah.
And it's like, where did that year go?
Yeah.
Right? It felt like just yesterday he was being born. He was small. Yeah. I go through my phone. My phone is full of my grandkids' pictures.
Mine's my son.
I mean, they post stuff on Snapchat, and I'm just downloading them on my phone.
Yep.
And then I sit there and I'm watching my phone. I'm going through my phone and I'm watching a bunch of pictures of my grandkids. Before it was like, okay, let me go find a place to go fish. Yeah. And now it's like, we're checking out my grandkids and what they're doing.
Where am I going to take him when he's big enough to go fishing, or them to go fishing, the other girls and stuff?
Exactly.
Yeah, Desiree we had that conversation, Des and I, the other day because we were sitting there, and she's like, "He's a toddler now.
Yeah,
he's not a baby," and I'm like, "But he's our baby.
Yeah.
Like he still is our baby." But no, technically he's a toddler, and I'm like, "Yeah, but he's not," And she's cried, and I've definitely I felt it and stuff. And we're talking to Bobby, and me and Bobby were talking, and he's like, "It's crazy because we just found out." And I'm like, "How is it, man? What do you think?" Bobby's my other resort of, other than my brothers and you, my other resort of like a dad, right? He's a girl dad, great girl dad, loves his girls. And I'm like, "How is it?" He's like, "Bro, it's so much different. Like, I hear a song, I start crying.
Yeah,
because I just think about my girls. Just start thinking about my girls." And same thing with my brothers, man. My brothers are great parents to their kids. Jalen's a great girl dad. Hoping the third one's a boy. Pat's a great dad to his two kids. And it's awesome. Starting to, I had a Father's Day last year, which was awesome. So it was like a couple weeks old. So I was like, yeah, it's cool, but now it's a Father's Day now, and then it's to the point where I'm like, do you want my Father's Day? It's all about me. This year, I'm like, honestly, babe, I just want to wake up, do some yard work, hang out, and then Jones in the house. I guess Jones have got in the side of the house. We'll do that. Like that's just something that I love and I love to do. Any last points you wanted to just say to any of the dads out there? That any quote or anything that keeps you going. It's like, hey, remember this.
Be good to your family. Be good to your family. Love your family. Love your kids. Love your wives. Be patient. It's tough. It's tough to be patient as a father. But it is a blessing when you watch them grow up.
Yeah.
Enjoy your kids. If you're a father of young kids, enjoy them while they're young. That's the best time you'll ever have with them. That is the best time you'll ever have with them is when they're young. When they get older, they get their own mind, right? And they start doing their own things. But the best part of being a father is is watching your kids grow up, watching them succeed, and learning from your own mistakes and becoming an even better father.
Yeah. No, that's huge. I think that's very.
And
great.
happy Father's to everybody.
Happy Father's Day. Seriously.
Happy Father's to everybody out there.
This will be coming. I mean, if you're, I highly doubt a lot of people are at the end of this video, but this will be coming out on Sunday instead of Monday, just for the reasons of Father's Day. We were film this one a little earlier. But happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Happy Father's Day to all the moms that got to take on both roles.
Yes,
shout out to y'all.
yes.
Happy Father's Day to all the stepfathers that stepped up for when the other father left, and you stepped up into those roles. A lot of that in my family, a lot of that in my wife's family. That's very, very
blessings to everybody that does that. Most definitely.
Yes.
Most definitely.
But yeah, Dad, I want to thank you so much for this episode. It was awesome. Something I've been wanting to do.
Thank you.
Father's Day is awesome because I always just get to celebrate you, and it's been awesome.
It is, and I'm glad that I was able to be here for a Father's Day episode, and wish you a great Father's Day.
Yeah,
as well as the rest of my boys. They have a great and blessed Father's Day.
Yeah. All right, guys. Like, subscribe. We're at 80 subscribers. We get to 100. It's funny now that I'm talking about being a dad. Being serious. We're doing another drunk questions. We get to 100 subscribers. So let us know on that. All right, we're out.
All right.